Hello guys, one second, I gotta bring my mic over. Hello everybody. Hope everyone's having a fantastic night. It is Thursday. We're now in October, spooky season, October 2nd. This is our 29th episode of the Northeast Ohio Sports Show. Hunter could not make it tonight, and let me close my door as well. I've got my water. Sorry about that, guys. Sorry about that. Busy night. We'll begin sports here soon. Below you see some scores, and above you see some scores. We have a Thursday night game going on right now. Looks like San Francisco and the Rams. San Fran's up by a touchdown, and they have a ball with 15 seconds left in the first. The Browns play Minnesota this week. We are currently 1-3. Minnesota's 2-2. Below us, we see how free practice 1 starts in a little less than 9 hours for the Singapore Airlines Grand Prix. So excited for that. It's by the Singapore Airlines Singapore Grand Prix. It's October 3rd through the 5th. Qualifying Saturday at 9 a.m. and the race is at 8 a.m. on Sunday. The Guardians lost today. If you're a Guardians fan, you probably already know that. Sad day. Yeah, 6-3. I really wish the bats could have came through and pitching could have done a little bit better. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. Boston is currently tied with New York, and Chicago won their series against San Diego, which is awesome to see. Our funny topic for this week will be about the Ryder Cup. Hopefully you've seen some screenshots about that. As well, don't forget to drop a like if you're enjoying the content. 2025 Ryder Cup was held September 26th or 28th at Bethpage Black in New York on Long Island. Europe won 15-13, becoming the first visiting team to win the Cup in U.S. soil since 2012, about 13 years ago. But the event wasn't just memorable for the play, it sparked significant controversy, mostly around crowd behavior, rule, and conduct. Main points. There's a lot of taunting. European players, especially Rory McIlroy, were heavily heckled, which I think's sad. Maybe it's a New York thing, but I like Rory. I'm Irish. And I think, him winning the Masters this year was good, him being a Happy Gilmore. Some chants targeted McIlroy personally, and fans mocked threats, insults, and distractions during swing routines. They were literally yelling at him when he was in his backswing. McIlroy's wife, Erica Stoll, was struck by a beer thrown by the crowd, an act that many considered beyond the pale. And I agree with that. I think it's disgusting. You shouldn't be throwing beers. It's the most Long Island thing I've ever heard, and maybe why they shouldn't have these type of events at Long Island. We saw it in Pittsburgh. They were way more behaved. At the Open. So I think, we could have these good in different areas. Golf, because I don't know if you guys remember, but kind of back in the day, they went to not many new different places like this. Golf's a bigger sport. They kind of want to spread it out. So they're going to a lot of new places, which is cool, but it's kind of showing that maybe some of these people, these cities aren't ready for golf. They're used to football and baseball and it's being trash people. So if they see sports like golf, they have the money to go, they just attack people, which is insane. In one incident, comedian Heather McCain, who was hosting as MC, whatever that means, was caught chanting "Fuck you, Roy," to rile up the crowd. She was later apologized and resigned her role, which is crazy. But also, people just need to relax about this stuff. European captain Luke Donald publicly said that the U.S. fans crossed the line, saying personal insults and disruptive noise during players' backswing routines. Sorry about that. Kind of like we've been saying, or I've been saying. Legendary American golfer Tom Watson expressed shame over the conduct of U.S. fans, saying the behavior didn't represent golf's values. It is becoming like Happy Gilmore now. And with a buyout and them kind of going, like if you watch Happy Gilmore 2, it was kind of realistic. Like watching some golf tournaments, what Live does, they actually like them to come out on a stage. It's crazy, but it's like WWE a little bit. People want that entertainment aspect of golf. They do the same in F1 after they win, they're on a stage. And actually, at some places, they come out on a stage. And they have time in Vegas. They come out, each driver gets announced. For European rule, or sorry, the envelope rule and injury substitution, the Ryder Cup was a long-standing envelope rule. Each captain names a player who will sit out in case of an injury to the opposing team. If such injury happens, that pre-selected player is substituted and the match is halved, 1 point award, without play. In 2025, Victor Hovland for Team Europe withdrew from singles day due to a neck injury. His match against Harris England was void. Each side got half a point. U.S. captain Keegan Bradley argued that the rule was unfair and has to change. Maybe he just doesn't like the points, or maybe he thinks that just because one side's injured, they get that disadvantage. But golf is a very gentleman's sport. I kind of think we should have that. Just my opinion. Because it is a very match-based sport, at least for Ryder Cup is. Ryder Cup is very a match-based event. European captain Donald defended it, saying it's part of a captain's agreement and protects players. And it does if you feel like you're hurt and you don't want to sit out because it's a disadvantage to your team. Obviously, you're gonna play hurt, and players shouldn't do that. This is kind of like the Pro Bowl, where some people take it seriously, some people don't. But like, you shouldn't be forced to play if you're hurt, is basically what I'm saying. Kind of like the Pro Bowl and a lot of these All-Star events. It's very dumb. I just think it's disgusting, the fan conduct reform, the level of hostility and personal abuse, prompt calls for stricter crowd control, better security, and a re-examination of how golf tournaments manage spectator behavior and how many spectators could be there, be close to people. Organizers may set clearer boundaries on heckling, enforce ejections more readily, and review speaker use for chants. And that's really it. The rule stuff I don't care about. I'm going to go into the Browns game. Last week, they played the Lions on September 28th. The Detroit Lions defeated the Browns 34-10. This destroyed. The game was marked by Cleveland's turnovers, special team struggles, and a dominant performance by the Lions. They were kind of due for it, and they could turn up on Sundays. Past 2 years, 3 years, they've been able to keep performance and turning points. Amon-Ra St. Brown caught 2 touchdown passes to help Detroit's offense. Raymond returned a punt for 65 yards for a touchdown, so Brown just being horrible on all fronts. Defense a little decent, but 34 points still a lot, but we gave up obviously some special teams points. Lions' Adrian Hutchinson recorded 2 sacks and forced a fumble. On Cleveland's side, Joe Flacco struggled. He completed 16 out of 34 passes for 184 yards and threw 2 interceptions. The Browns turned the ball over 3 times, which Detroit converted into 17 points. The Browns actually opened the game well with a 13-play, 88-yard drive, but after that, mistakes and miscues derailed their momentum. Typical Browns. Special teams also hurt Cleveland. Penalties, a punt return TD, and other breakdowns. I actually wasn't watching this. I think NASCAR may have been on at the same time. I'm at that point now. I like racing more than Browns. Stat and technical notes. The Browns' defense had moments, but the offensive struggles and turnovers made them vulnerable. The drive that opened the game showed some promise, but consistency was lacking. We need better offensive consistency, and the red zone opportunities were missed and squandered due to errors. Quarterback change, like I just said, in response to the loss and underperformance at QB. For Browns, bench old-ass Joe Flacco and named rookie Dylan Gabriel was charged for Week 5 in London. So we're actually going away to London this week, so excited for that. But it's kind of scary, a rookie playing in a different country, might be jet-lagged. I'm scared for that. We'll have to see. Like I said, I thought it would actually be not this quick, that these rookies were even going to play. I knew they were going to go Gabriel before Sanders, but I really hope Sanders gets his time to sign. And especially if it's already Week 5, Gabriel's probably going to be dead by Week 10, And I'm not saying I want him to die. I'm saying our offensive line doesn't block anybody, and they will kill a rookie quarterback. He could run. He cannot run like Shador. So we need better offensive protection, offensive consistency, and I really think that would help. Flacco's season has been rough, multiple interceptions, low scoring output, and now it's shifting the team's direction. Coach Stefanski emphasized with changes about improving team performance, not a personal indictment on Joe Flacco's character. That's some woke stuff, I guess, because obviously Flacco's a great guy. They're just talking about obviously performance. I don't know anyone that said that. Maybe there were rumors about his character. That's just, I guess what they have to do now. Momentum and record, excuse me. If the Browns fell to 1-3 with this loss, confidence, morale, and consistency will be under a microscope going forward because we're so trash. However, there's a positive update on Deshaun Watson's rehab. He's progressing, he's out of his walking boot and actively involved in meetings and light activity. So I got a little bit of throat action right now. Watson is not expected to return immediately, but the team appears optimistic about his recovery timeline. Now on to NASCAR. September 28th, we had Hollywood Casino 400 at Kansas Speedway. Results in drama. Chase Elliott pulled off a last lap pass in overtime to secure a win because they had yellow flags. They have overtime in NASCAR. I kind of like that, but they could put a few on NASCAR. F1 doesn't have that. It was sad because Bubba Wallace, I wanted to win. He was leading during the yellow flags, led for a while, and Chase Elliott pulled off a last lap. On the final lap, contact between Denny Hamlin and Bubba Wallace played a part in Elliott's move. Denny Hamlin's an asshole, and of course that happened. Hamlin was vying for his 60th win, which slipped away. He was fighting with Bubba, and then Chase just came in, won. Elliott surged, put him on a round of 8th of the playoffs with the boy Ryan Blaney. Christopher Bell finished 3rd, followed by pole sitter Chase Briscoe, and Bubba Wallace in the top 5 because of a contact. Sad, he was in 1st. He did really well. He wasn't on the pole, and he got to be leading for a while, especially after yellow flags. If it was F1, he would have won. The race is wild. It required overtime to settle matters. Implication and notes. Hamlin, though missed out on the win, extended his points for a buffer cutoff line, which is good for him. Some drivers who started deeper struggled to recover. Starting position and restarts played a pivotal role at that race. Post-race penalties. Carson Hocevar was fined $50,000 for behavior infraction. The next race is Bank of America Roval 400 at the Charlotte Roval. Great Road Oval. October 5th. I can't wait for it for road course layout. Sorry for Oval in Charlotte. It's race 32 or 36 of the season and marks the final race in the round of 12 for the playoffs. Drivers will be fighting to avoid elimination. This event spans 109 laps around a 2.32 mile course, combining road course and oval elements, which I actually kind of like. IndyCar does stuff like that at Indy. Broadcasting and viewing. It's also because, when you're just doing an oval all day, your car's tuned just to go left. But when you put in that road course, you have to have your car more balanced in the straight going left. You know what I mean? So that's interesting. More downforce. So I always like those kind of races. For race will air on the USA Network, I believe they have been, at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Qualifying will also be televised on True TV per the TV guideline for NASCAR. I think True TV is free. Key storylines and what to watch, who advances. It's also crazy they don't really stream qualification for NASCAR or have it on TV because I think IndyCar normally has Fox Sports 1. They've been making that money. Key storylines and what to watch here. Who advances? Some drivers will be under immense pressure. One bad mistake or crash can mean elimination. For oval complexity, for mix of road course turns, chicanes, and typical over sections, tend to shake up the order. Strategy, tire management, braking, and precision drive matter more here than pure ovals, like I kind of said before, because a little bit more downforce. Momentum from Kansas, Elliott strong Showing gives him confidence over drivers who were close to the cutoff, e.g. Hamlin, will try to solidify their positions, and I will think it'd be interesting to see if Bubba Wallace can make it. Upset potential, because there is a do-or-die race, we may see aggressive moves, bold strategy gambles, or surprise entrants rising through the field. Right now, like I said, we have Chase Elliott and Ryan Blaney with the wins. Kyle Larson in third, 54 points. Danny Hamlin in fourth with 48. Christopher Bell in fifth with 44. William Byron in sixth with 40. Chase Briscoe in seventh with 21 points. Joey Logano in eighth with 13. Now, in NASCAR, how these playoffs work, if you win, you advance. You automatically advance until we get to where the finals work. But right now, there's a cutoff. So, like, it's next round of, basically they go by fours and then twos, obviously. So then it goes 12, 8, 4. And that's really exciting. I'm excited to see what happens. But below that cutoff line is Ross Chastain in ninth with minus 13 points. So he's 26 points away from Joey Logano. Bubba Wallace minus 26 in 10th. Tyler Reddick in 11th with minus 29. And Austin Cindric in 12th with minus 48. So, sad, but, that's how it is for Bubba. I'm really happy about Ryan Blaney, and I really think he actually might be able to win this year. I think his last race, they were testing, basically, for Vegas, because certain tires they're going to be using in Vegas, they were using last race, so they knew, okay, we weren't doing the best. I think they had to use, like, a backup car or something, so let's just make it a test. So, yeah, Las Vegas is after Charlotte, that's October 12th. They have Talladega, October 19th. Martinsville, October 26th. And Phoenix ends it on November 2nd. So we'll go into IndyCar a little bit. For right now, there's still contract disputes with Alex Palou in trial. IndyCar champion, four-time champion, is in civil trial in London over breach of contract dispute with McLaren. This saga loomed over his career for years, and the outcome could significantly influence his next steps. Like I said, Will Power left Team Penske, which we talked about. David Malukas is taking it over. Andretti Global added Ron Wazowski, former Penske, as team principal for 2026. Japanese driver Katsuhiro Ota is slated to test with Meyer Shank Racing. Mick Schumacher, former F1 driver, is expected to test with Rahal Lanigan, RLL. Graham Rahal's team with Letterman, the talk show host, on an IMS road course, which would be pretty interesting. Jack Harvey is expected to return and attempt for 2026 Indy 500 with Dreyer and Renbold. Kind of like we talked about with the new schedule, there's a return to Phoenix and Indy doubleheader in 2026. It hasn't been to Phoenix since 2018. It will race on the weekend shared with NASCAR, creating a high-profile motorsports doubleheader. However, it will be interesting to see who gets prime time. And I think they were even saying NASCAR's backup series, Xfinity, because it goes Cup, Xfinity, like their double A, that they might get prioritization over IndyCar, which would be insane, because, frankly, IndyCar is doing pretty well. I don't know if a lot of people know. If Indy 500 fits about 350 to 380,000 people. Talladega doesn't fit that much. Daytona, which is bigger than Talladega, fits about 180. So it's insane. And there's a lot of fans at IndyCar. They get a lot of views. Like I said before, like they actually put on TV their qualifications. They don't for NASCAR. So that's not really fair. I think it would be kind of cool to have back-to-back races. So if it went like IndyCar and then NASCAR and IndyCar, that would be awesome. You could have, for double A's, because there's Indy NXT on next, they could race with Xfinity Series in the morning, other people, prime time. That would be awesome. But 2026 season now includes 17 races. There will be no race in Mexico for 2026, which is sad, especially because Pato O'Ward's such a good driver. IndyCar is bringing a street race to Arlington, Texas. making return to Texas after a few years, and since they don't race in COTA anymore. Several events, like the Music City Grand Prix, are shifting time slots or formats to nice racing and lap count change. The next-gen chassis planning still going on, IR27, expected to come out. The current Delaria DW12 chassis is going to get upgraded in 2027 to the IR27. We'll introduce 18-inch wheels, aerodynamic upgrades, aiming to improve overtaking and technical relevance. There's a new charter system which gives teams guaranteed entries, continues to shape the competitive landscape. IndyCar is enhancing post-race technical inspections using scanning systems, which would be awesome, to detect infractions more precisely. Weird they didn't do that when Penske was winning all the Indy 500s, because obviously we know they cheated. After Azerbaijan, for stats for F1, right now Oscar Piastri is 25 points ahead of Lando Norris in first. Lando Norris is in second. Max Verstappen, who's 44 points below Lando, is in third. Then we have George Russell, who is about 43 points below Max Verstappen. We have Charles Leclerc, about 47 points below George Russell in fifth. Lewis Hamilton, about 44 points below Charles Leclerc in sixth. A.K. Kimi Antonelli in seventh. Alexander Albon in eighth. Isaac Hadjar in ninth. Nico Hulkenberg in 10th. The driver standings for Formula One currently, we have McLaren in first with 623 points. Second, Mercedes at 290. Third, Ferrari at 286. Fourth, Red Bull at 272. Fifth, Williams at 101. Sixth, Racing Bulls at 72. 7, Aston Martin at 62. 8th, Sauber. 9th, Haas. 10, Alpine. Like I said before, we got Singapore Airlines Singapore Grand Prix this weekend. Free practice 1 starts in about 8.5 hours. This racetrack has 23 turns. It was established in 2008, goes counterclockwise. It's a street course. Circuit length is 5.065 kilometers. Total distance at 61 laps, 308.828 kilometers. Like I said, a lot of turns, 23. The lap record is Lewis Hamilton in 2017 with that beast Mercedes. It's called the Marina Bay Street Circuit in Marina Bay and Singapore. Is there capital called Singapore in Singapore? And it's like New York City? I don't know. That's interesting. They have 2 DRS zones, one at the start straight, and another one right after turn 5. So the DRS zones are pretty early. They're both in Sector 1. Sector 2 starts after turn 9, and Sector 3 starts after turn 14. Once again, there's 23 turns. A lot of chicanes in this race. It's a very interesting track because some teams don't do too well there. Always, because it's always cold or sometimes hot. Really hot at night. It's a night race too. But it's a slow course. There are straights, but even like the second DRS, the first DRS zone, has a kink in it, about 35 degrees. So like they're gonna be going fast, and they have to turn. A lot of these turns are 90 degrees. There's about a good amount of chicanes, probably like 5, maybe just 2 majors, 3 other light chicanes. So a lot of turning at this track. It eats tires, like times where Ferrari and Mercedes have had bad years. They've done very well here. The minimum distance from sea level is about 17.7 meters, with the max distance being 23 meters. The max elevations at turn 13. After turn 13, the minimum is right at turn 4. Like I said before, it's October 3rd through 5th. The main Grand Prix is Sunday. It's for round 18 out of a 24 race season. The street circuit with tight corners, low grip, and challenging night conditions. Qualifying is extremely important here because overtaking is difficult on the layout. It's a street course, so very tight, and they got walls that you'll get your ass smacked by. It happens time and time again, so we gotta be careful. Oscar Piastri leads teammate Lando Norris in the Drivers' Championship. Max Verstappen is trying to mount a comeback, having won in recent rounds with Italy and Azerbaijan and closing the gap. Max has won in Singapore, but they haven't done well in Singapore in a while. McLaren clinch the Constructors' Championship this weekend with as few as 13 points. Some challenges and other storylines to watch are how well Red Bull and Verstappen respond. Their car upgrades may help, but Singapore is so unforgiving with heat, humidity, and mechanical strain. But reliability is often a deciding factor here. The sprint format will be in play. Singapore is holding a sprint weekend for the first time. Is it really? This is a lie. 100% a lie. I wonder what website I got that from. Yeah, because we have free practices, qualifying, sprays. And that'll be it. We'll go on. We're now for Guardians. For Guardian, entered the wild card round against the Tigers in Game 1. The Tigers won 2-1. After Screwball, really good pitcher they have, taking an early series lead, and we had an error early that gave up a run. Very sad. Game 2 was a must-win for Cleveland to force a deciding Game 3, and we ended up winning that one. We won 6-1. George Valeria gave Cleveland an early lead with a solo home run in the first inning. Detroit tied at 1-1 in the fourth, scoring on Javier Baez's single. For Game 1, like I said, Detroit struck early, and his pitcher, Tarek Screwball, had a dominant outing with 14 strikeouts. Cleveland's lone run came in the fourth via an RBI single by Gabriel Arias. But back to Game 2. A pivotal moment came in the bottom of the eighth inning. Cleveland erupted in 5 runs, breaking the game open. Brian Macario hit a go-ahead solo homer off Troy Melton. Then Daniel Sleeman added an RBI double. Bo Naylor clapped it with a 3-run homer as well. Detroit struggled mighty with its runners in scoring positions, going 1 for 15, and stranding a franchise postseason record of 15 base runners, which is crazy. Cleveland's bullpen with Jacob Eunice and others shut down Detroit over the final innings. Today, like I said though, however, we ended up losing. We finally broke. It was sad because we just needed a little bit more bats, but it really happens. Detroit had a lot of good pitchers this year, and we had a lot of injuries like we always do. But basically, Detroit scored in the third, we scored in the fourth, Detroit scored in the sixth, making it 2-1. However, in the seventh is when their bats erupted finally in this series, sadly. They got 4 runs, we got 0. In the eighth, we got 2, making the final 6-3. They had 10 hits, we had 6. They had 1 error, we had 0. Frankly, like I said, the pitchers for Detroit were insane today in making it through. The starting pitcher had an ERA of 1.93. The rest of them had zeros. For Cleveland, our starting pitcher had an ERA of 3.86. Then we had another guy come in for 2 innings with a 3.38. Had a guy for 0.1 innings get a 10 ERA. 0.1 inning get a 6 ERA. So it was just rough. Our bats very low. A lot of 1s, some 0s for hits. Jose was 1 for 4. You know what I mean? They had more hits than we did. That really helped them out in the end. We needed that. You know, they have... Detroit has a good team. I mean, they have Javier Baez. He's a little older now. I wonder how old he is anyway. 32. It's just, like I'm saying, it was the pitching that really ended it for us. So, sad to see. That's it for me, actually, guys. So I really appreciate you stopping by. Yeah, we still got the Browns, Mom. We'll have to see. I mean, they're pretty crappy. I talked about them earlier. If you missed it, you could scroll back on YouTube or watch the VOD after. But thank you for stopping by. I appreciate our viewer for coming by. If you're on your phone, drop a like. If you're not subscribed yet, make sure you do that. You do that if you like minimize for camera or just like kind of hold it like this. You'll see subscribe below. There's a bell if you turn on, and you'll get notifications whenever I go live as well. Once again, everyone, this is our 29th episode, of the Northeast Ohio Sports Show. October 7th. We have one more day till the weekend. I think we can get there. This docket's always long for this. I went back to the bottom, but I'd really appreciate it, once again, if you could subscribe. We'll have our news show again on Monday at 8:30 with me and Tommy. I want to try to do a healthy living show with Trevor this weekend, but it might be busy. So once again, we have 4 viewers now. Really appreciate everyone stopping by. You could always go back and watch the rest of the stream as well, just by scrolling back on YouTube, or there's going to be a VOD that's like instantly uploaded once the stream's over. So once again, I really appreciate it. Hope everyone has a great night. One more day till Friday. Almost there. I have a nice site visit tomorrow, so I kind of have a half day. Gonna go to work in the morning. We have like some people, like some Valve company coming in, doing a lunch and learn, so free lunch, and then I'm gonna drive up to northern Trumbull County and be in a wetland dicking around all day. So that'll be fun. I get to see some hicks, smoke some cigs. I bet it'll be a good time. Hope everyone has a great night and a great weekend. Once again, if you have any other comments, drop them. Make sure you drop a like. Any other input, drop it. I really appreciate that. So we have 2 likes now. I really appreciate that, Mom. If you were able to do that, you have a good night.